The CureCast is a non-profit fan-based podcast. Pretty Cure and related characters are produced by Toei Animation, Asahi Broadcast Corporation, and Marvelous AQL. Please support the official releases.
Welcome to another episode of the CureCast, where our voice is the cure and the cure is pretty. I am your host, Kamiyan, and these are my fabulous co-hosts. Leo, please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, this is Leo.
And my faithful cohort, Redcoon.
Hi there, my name is Red. I am very British and I fight evil by moonlight.
Wait a second, what?
And we are the Futariwa CureCast. We will be freshly starting off with Freshly Pick Talk, detailing the 4 episodes of Doki Doki CureCast, our last 4 episodes. For those who don't know what Freshly Pick Talk is, we review the latest episodes of the latest Pre-Cure series. And as of this airing, that would be Doki Doki Pretty-Cure. Starting off, we have episode 15, which details a Makoto episode where she has to double her life as an idol and student by working with a movie actress. Very famous, and she has a lot of nerves coming onto her because of the huge gap between them. She becomes a little more self-conscious about it, and she slowly begins to doubt herself, but with the help of her friends, she gains the confidence to keep doing what she must, so then one day she will find the queen. Starting off, let us begin with a discussion about this episode. I'd like to start off with Leo, please.
Well, okay. One of the things I noticed about the episode, it's pretty much something that, it was a little pet peeve of mine, that they chose Snow White for this episode when they chose Snow White for Smile. Because, I mean, you have Tamaki and Makoto are the evil queen and Snow White. And I'm like, boy, why can't you choose other fairy tales for your show?
I guess it's just a pop culture thing, like Japanese school kids only kind of know a certain number of fairy tales, which is why you kind of see the same ones popping up over and over again, like the Momotaros, the Momoto? Momoto? No,
Isn't it the
Momotaro.
little peach? Oh, the little boy that shows up in a peach fun, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Or the
And
okay,
then-
yeah, because that was also in the Smile movie.
Yeah.
Yayoi was the little person. Gotcha.
Mhm.
But I don't know. That was just something that was just a pet peeve of mine. Because I would like to see a little more variety in their fairy tale.
Considering how many movies are getting remade these days, I'm not surprised they're making another version of Snow White.
Snow White. But yeah, so that was just a pet peeve of mine. But I mean, I liked the episode. It showcased that Makoto is really starting to trust her teammates / friends. And that's so much better than her going, no, I don't want to be teammates with you. You're not really friends. That kind of thing. I liked it for that part.
Awesome.
What about you, Redcoon?
I enjoyed the episode as well. What I really liked was that it addressed the fact that Makoto has these two conflicting desires. Because at first, when she gets introduced as an idol, they introduce it as, okay, she's going on TV, she's trying to become really famous so that hopefully the queen will one day notice her and come forward. But then in that very same episode, Makoto also makes it very clear that she wants to be an idol for being an idol's sake. She wants to make people happy with her songs. So it's always been sort of interesting to see how she balances these two responsibilities. And this was really another episode that focused in on that, because she's trying to use her career as a way to find the queen, but that's actually actively getting in the way of her actual career. So she has to stop and decide, okay, what's more important to me right now? Do I actually love what I'm doing enough to dedicate myself fully to it? Do I really want to be an actress? Or is it just a means to an end? And I liked how she managed to find. I don't think she quite found a solution right now. But I think she got pushed down the right path. I like that she came to some kind of resolution in the end.
Well, like, that's why I was all like, I really enjoyed the fact that Makoto is so trusting to her teammates and friends to let them search for the queen while she's focusing on being an actress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very I think it's a very great thing that she realizes that she's no longer alone, and that she shouldn't feel the weight of the burden on her shoulders now that she has other Pretty Cure friends to help her, because as far as we know, she was the only Pretty Cure of the Card Kingdom. So she's mostly been fighting alone, even till when the Card Kingdom fell. Now that she has friends, she realizes that she doesn't have to hold that burden anymore. And it's a great maturity point for her, because it should reflect on a lot of the viewers' lives that you don't have to take on everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. It's interesting how it's. If I want to compare it for a moment to the Cure Moonlight arc from Heartcatch Pretty Cure, because that has a few similar beats in that she was fighting alone. The fact that she was alone caused a great failure, and she has to deal with that, and eventually finds friends that with the support of her friends, she realizes that she's not alone and regains the resolve to fight. But Makoto is, I would say, and this really comes down to the ages, because Makoto's, I'm assuming 13 or 14, because that's the general age of Pretty Cures, and Yuri is stated as being 18.
17.
17 or 18, yep. I think Makoto feels like much more mature. Yuri's Yuri's older and she's been hurt, and that kind of adult cynicism holds her back from really recovering from that. Whereas Makoto is at that age where she can still she finds it more easy to kind of trust and open her heart up to other people. At the same time, she also tries to act adult quite a lot as well. You know, with the typical tsundere, oh, I don't care about them. I'm focused. I can take this all on myself. Yuri realizes very quickly that Yuri realizes the hard way that she can't take on everything by herself. And Makoto is still trying to discover. Well, Makoto is still trying to get that drilled into her head, and I think this was a good step towards that happening.
Okay. Do you think it's also comparable to Cure Muse, who also had to fight on her own before Sweet Pretty Cure started, and realized that she can't do it alone as well?
You could compare it to that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But, the stories are obviously very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Cure Muse, I feel that the reason she had to finally team up with people was because she reached like a power limit. Like to throw out some Dragon Ball Z-esque numbers out there, if Cure Muse is at level 500 and the monsters start at level 300 and go up by 10 every episode, eventually they overtake her and she has to get to the point where she has to actually team up with people. I think that was really part of the reason why she ended up teaming up with people. It wasn't a case that she got. The main difference is that she didn't fail and she didn't get hurt as a result of that.
Yeah, because she was searching for her father.
Yeah, yes. So she's really being propelled forward by a mission instead of a failure or trying to make up for something. So I would say the story beats are different there.
Okay.
But like you pointed out, Jamie, you can broadly compare it if you want to do that.
Okay. A major plot point in this episode is the use of Regina. In the last episode, we discussed her recent appearance. Today, this episode, episode 15, is the first time she actually gets into the battlefield by forcing the selfishness out by staining the heart instead of naturally, forcing it. She just pretty much just like blots all over it. How do you guys feel about that? Or how do you feel about Regina's specialty?
How terrifying is that power?
That is so overpowered.
It's God Modley.
Crazy.
In RP terms, it's God Modley.
Yeah, I remember when there was the first few episodes and there was the scenes of like the invasion of the Trump Kingdom, and everyone was saying, isn't it terrifying that these guys can just, as soon as anyone has a shred of selfishness in their heart, they can turn you into a monster? Isn't that terrifying? And Regina takes that one step further.
She can just do that whenever she wants.
Yeah, it's terrifying, isn't it?
She forces it. It's crazy.
That's a little more terrifying than them going, oh, hey, there's a little bit of selfish. I'm just going to turn you into a selfish.
I'm going to turn you into a telephone box.
I'm going to turn you into a goat. I'll turn you into a sheep.
Yes.
Nope,
I'm going to turn
you into a mirror.
Oh.
Here's a question I'm going to pose to the both of you. Do you think there's going to be a point in the future where Regina tries to use her power on one of the Pretty Cures while they're transformed, and what do you think will happen?
Oh
my
God.
God.
All hell will break loose.
I would love that.
Work.
Cure versus Cure action would be so great.
So you think that it would work, and B, there would be a fight between the Cures?
Well, I mean, I would like it to work, because then that would be something that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Really. Because in Pretty Cure, all of the girls are pretty much exempt from being victims of the week if you don't count Heartcast, where the girls
they're exceptions, basically.
Yeah, they're exceptions, but I mean, if they become victims of the week after they've become Pretty Cure, they've harnessed into their powers. If they turn into a selfish, I am kind of frightened to see what kind of powerhouse that selfish would be.
But would it be a case of being turned into a selfish, or would it be a case of becoming a, dare I say it, dark cure?
I think I'd prefer a Dark Cure just because I love the Dark Cure outfits.
But I mean, it's just the fact that you don't know what would happen, but you know that it's going to be even worse than the monsters you've seen so far.
Actually, it should be like very possible. That's the thing. Is that it should show that not even heroes are exempt from their weaknesses. And if we look at our characters, there are very daunting weaknesses that they don't outright say, but it's there. Like Rika's jealousy, Makoto's obsession. I don't know what to say about Alice.
Alice
her self-conscious?
I'll remember, Alice is the one with passive-aggressive issues.
Yeah. Oh God, really? She has passive-aggressive?
She's the one who learned every kind of martial art there is and then crippled some bullies with it.
Batman.
Yeah,
she's Batman.
Pretty much. But no, I think something like that would make for a really good mid-season finale. Kind of like Yes, Pretty Cure 5, where the mid-season finale was that 4 of them get kidnapped and brainwashed.
No, all of them end up getting brainwashed.
Oh yeah, all of them. But the kind of cliffhanger is like Nozomi goes forward, and then the other 4 step forward, and they've been brainwashed.
Oh my God! Wait, is this Yes 5?
Yes 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh Jesus Christ! I did not know. Oh no! Why'd you spoil it for me? No, I'm kidding.
Jamie, it's a really amazing, really creepy scene, and it really helps because, like I say, it's the mid-season finale. So
it has to be something epic.
I would seriously recommend like those 2 episodes to you.
This is Yes 5, not Go.
Yes, it's Yes 5, definitely. And
get
you
on that.
don't need to have really seen any of the other episodes leading up to it. It's kind of a standalone 2-parter.
Okay, good. Then I have to get on it. All right. All right. I'm excited now. You guys got me pumped. All right.
Good, because everybody needs to watch Yes.
All right. Coming up next is episode 16, where Regina goes on full attack, but not in the way that you think. She tries to force herself to be Mana's friend, and that sets a lot of issues between Mana and Makoto, who doesn't fully trust Regina because she is one of the Jikochu, selfish people. Overall, the episode was just this huge development for Regina and partially for Mana. But what do you guys think of it?
Oh, Regina is just, wow. How, wow. I mean, she's got her fail-safe for being able to do whatever she wants. Oh, I'm just going to erase everything. I'm just like, what kind of power do you have that you can erase whatever it is that's bothering you?
Well, if you're the daughter of the big bad, anything is possible.
It's true, but it's just, Mana can't go to, hang out with her. I'm going to erase the school. Oh, Rika's trying to stop us from hanging out. I'm just going to, shut her up and then just run off with Mana.
But it's not going to be one of those, you're gone. It's going to be like, she's probably just going to make them fight and then destroy them or kill them through some other means. But it's not going to be an instant pop, you know what I mean?
Well, you don't know that. I mean, she is pretty OP.
True. Yeah, she's OP.
What I liked, when I first watched the episode, it's really fun to watch short transformations. Because when Regina showed up, when Makoto and Mana and Rika were walking to school, she immediately went sword.
Yeah.
Immediately! And, in the first few episodes, Alice pretty much records the whole entire, transformation of Mana's. And then all of a sudden, sword. In like a, blink of an eye, she's transformed. It's just crazy how much distrust she has for Regina.
It might be an animation thing, though. It could be because usually if they've transformed once, then if they've done this transformation sequence once, they won't do it again within the same episode. That's a huge time waster.
Well, it's not so much that. It's just the fact that it happened, and it honestly blew my mind.
To be honest, I'd like to see more kind of instant transformations like that. I think it adds to the story. I think
it's been done in Heartcatch.
Yeah. Like I say, I'd like to see more of that. I think if it helps the story kind of chug along, kind of cutting out your 2-minute transformation sequence helps.
But the thing is that I honestly don't remember in Heartcatch where it just, snapped to, first they were in one frame, they were in normal clothes, and then within 2 seconds they were transformed. I honestly don't ever remember that in Heartcatch.
I think there would only be like moments where they were kind of temporarily knocked out of form, so they had like the white dresses on and then transformed back, but that's not really normal to Cure, is it?
Because they're in the process of being transformed.
Mm-hmm.
But she's innocent in that yandere kind of way.
Yeah, I really do like how innocent she is. She really lends a different flavor of character, because we've seen plenty of kind of dark magical girls in previous series of Pretty Cure, but Regina is more innocently evil. She reminds me of a little kid, actually, a lot.
That's the thing. Because of that, you really can't hate her for it. I mean, she's innocent, but that doesn't mean she knows what she's doing. She just doesn't know better.
Well, you can hate kids. That's one way of hating her.
Yeah, I
that's
guess.
so mean.
I know.
But kids don't know what they're doing. That's the thing. Kids do what they think is right. Regina is a borderline. She knows what she's doing. At the same time, she doesn't fully understand or comprehend it. So you really can't hate her for it because she just doesn't know better. That's the thing.
Yeah, the thing is, she's innocent in the way that little kids are innocent. And I don't mean to say that little kids are evil or anything like that. Little kids are just inherently selfish. They're the kind of... This is why you get parents who have to actually physically punish kids, because otherwise they don't understand that what they've done is wrong, because they haven't gotten any negative feedback. they're just like, oh, I've stolen a biscuit. That's one biscuit for me. Nothing wrong about that. So in that way, she reminds me of a little kid a lot because she's only concerned with her benefit. And I think I have a character like that in a show aimed at that demographic of kids who are on the verge of kind of learning the difference between right and wrong. I think it's a really interesting character to have. To actually have a character who acts like a little kid, but is slowly going to learn that that's not the right way to go about things.
Okay. Actually, starting with the last episode, and it's going to be going on for, I guess, a while, we actually have our first group finisher. Because starting with Regina, who's been making Chikochu or selfish since her battlefield debut, the love heart arrow just doesn't do anything anymore. And mostly they just use it for attacking and once for purifying, but it just doesn't do its job anymore. So how do you guys feel about the love heart arrow group finisher?
Makoto needs to smile. I mean, I know, I've seen everybody, mentioning that she really needs to learn how to smile while she winks, but she really needs to learn how to smile.
They stand in a line and they shoot that bad guy with bows. That's a group finisher. I can't.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is.
I can't say I'm super impressed by it, but it's a group finisher. It is what it is.
But how do you feel that it just overshadows what the love heart arrow was at first, and now they just use it for auxiliary attacks, and they do it repeatedly, by the way. They do this repeatedly, knowing full well that it's not going to work.
I can't really muster up the energy to get that bothered about it, because that's kind of been the way Pretty-Cure has been going for quite a long time. Let's have a look at Sweet Pretty-Cure, for instance, where they got upgrades to their equipment almost every other episode. And with Smile Pretty-Cure, for instance, I mean, after they got the group attack in that, it was a case of, okay, our regular attacks are just auxiliary until we're building up to the team attack. Even Heartcatch, to an extent, had that kind of thing where their individual attacks became less powerful, or rather less significant.
I think Heartcatch is when it really started.
Yeah, I'd argue Sweet Pretty-Cure was the one where like the normal attacks started to get really bad. Heartcatch did introduce the whole thing where they got a power-up form, and then it was basically a case of, okay, we'll build up to the power-up form, and then that attack decides everything.
I mean, they just get a new Loveeds out of it, but...
Yeah. Okay, there was something that I noticed in the Doremi subs, that instead of Loveys, it's Love Aids.
Love Aids. Yeah, I think it's meant to be like a pun on Love Aids. I'm guessing that there's some official merchandise out there that spells it Love Aids, but I don't know the particulars.
I thought it was Loveeds where the EA is like beads, you know what I mean? So I thought that's what it's supposed to be. That love is not the primary, but Aids is the primary.
It's Japan. They love their puns, especially in languages that they don't completely understand. So right now, I think just pick whatever word you like better. I don't think there's really going to be one in particular that's right above the others. It's kind of like how, like, in Sweet Pretty-Cure, you had Ellen, and everyone who's English said, oh, that's Ellen, Ellen, and then all the official merchandise spells it with an R.
It's the same thing with Seiren and Siren. Mostly because...
Yeah.
Seiren. It's mostly because Seiren is the official Japanese way of saying it, but it's supposed to be spelled Siren.
Yeah.
But subbers would call it Seiren because of how it sounds, and it annoys me.
Actually, what it is the Greek word for the mythical creature is spelled and pronounced Seiren. Seiren. But in English, it got changed to Siren. So if the character is named after the Greek word for it, then Seiren is technically correct. It's kind of like how the original name for the three-headed dog that guarded the underworld is Kerberos.
Cerberus.
Cerberus?
Yeah, The original is Kerberos, which you might recognize from Cardcaptor Sakura. That's the original Greek. But when we brought over, the pronunciation got switched, and we pronounced it Cerebus.
Oh.
So there you go, your mythology lesson for this episode of the Pretty Cure podcast. It's very fascinating just to see how the different languages intersect, and so like Siren would be a perfectly acceptable word for her name because that's what we call it in English, but we've got the official, or rather the original Greek, if you want to call it that as well.
Okay.
So basically, to get back to what we were saying before about the lovies, love aids and stuff, they probably called it that because there's an official translation somewhere, but in my personal opinion, just pick whatever you like best. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Okay, we continue on with the Royal Crystal arc in episode 17, titled Shock, the Stolen Crystal. So you can probably tell what happens in this one. But for the sake of explanation, this episode does more Regina development because after her last episode, she slowly tries to understand what the girls are wanting from her. And it actually works for a little bit. They actually go on a trip to see these sculptures because Makoto's reasoning, it's the queen likes sculptures. And there was actually a statue that looked exactly like the queen with a red gem inside. Cliche notes say that we already know what that's going to turn out. But in this episode, Regina, at the peak of her understanding, does a complete heel turn once she has the royal crystal in her possession. And we get a special introduction to a certain character, which we will get to later. So how do you guys feel about this episode?
I want to know what it is that made, or like, what about the royal crystal that made Regina do a
Totally agree.
Because she held it in her hand, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna have all the royal crystals. Give them to me, or I'll blow you up.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that it's maybe the influence of King Selfish? Like he's kind of remote controlling her?
That would be interesting.
That would be. It could be like a brainwashing thing.
Mm. Like,
because she never really understood or knew about the existence of the royal crystals until this episode. And once it became apparent to her, her eyes went red, and then,
mm-hmm. Then she turned evil. Do you think do you think that it's the influence of King Selfish or the crystal itself? I've already said that I think it's King Selfish.
I think it's both, because it's like a trigger effect. I think that her mission deep down is to search for the royal crystals. And from the moment of her birth, if we ever know what that's supposed to be, that she has a memory implanted that once she is exposed to the royal crystals, then that becomes her primary mission.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right. I mean, that's what the past two episodes has pretty much been. That she needs those royal crystals.
Mm-hmm.
For what reason, we're not exactly sure, aside from, it's for daddy. But I mean, aside from I want them, you don't really know what she wants them for.
I think Regina herself just wants them for their own sake. But, I wouldn't be surprised if she got all... I know this probably won't happen, but suppose she got all 5, then she would suddenly go super brainwashed and be like, must give these to King Selfish.
What are you, a robot?
She would turn into a robot, yes.
It could be that King Selfish is just is using Regina as an outlet to his thoughts, which is probably knowing, because he's the big bad, he would definitely want the royal crystals for one reason or another. And if that wasn't Regina's primary concern, then it would be probably his, and she's just using Regina as a sort of antenna to pick those thoughts up and use her as a controller.
Do you mean like an astral projection or a dream?
It could be. It's more like, it's either that she was brainwashed, or she was like an idea implantation since the moment of her birth, or that she is or she was completely taken over, but is acting like it's her.
Mm-hmm. I'm still going for the Regina is Mariange theory, but if it turned out that Regina was like a dream projected by King Selfish, like, because we know that he's sealed away and slumbering, but if he somehow managed to dream like a version of himself, and that self is Regina, that would be really interesting.
Oh, is that the theory where like I and Regina are like the same, except Regina is like the selfishness and I is the pure heart?
That's the theory, generally. Yeah, that's basically the theory. That when Mariange fell through the portal, she got split up, and I is her innocence, and Regina is her selfishness, her immature selfishness, essentially.
Oh, so no more love babies. Okay.
hmm
Whoa.
And yeah, and the selfish part got, well, it's kind of obvious that she got manipulated or transformed by King Selfish somehow, but she's basically a part of Mariange.
So we have a red royal crystal.
hmm
That's kind of great. We already know what that's going to happen, though.
They're gonna get it back?
No, what the red royal crystal signifies.
Oh yeah, Curace.
Yeah,
Oh yes, Cure 8.
because now they have doll previews of those. So
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember seeing pictures of that.
so you know now it's confirmed. It's definitely confirmed. You can't
Yeah.
go back on that now. You can't Photoshop a doll.
hmm
But in this episode, we actually get our favorite stalker is back, and we get to know who he really is now.
Yeah.
Jonathan Klondike. What kind of name is that? But you know,
And
it
see, you say Klondike, and I'm like, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
there's been those jokes already.
yeah.
I know, but that's just really all I can think of. I'm like, huh.
So what do you guys think
Well-
about this, though? Like the all of a sudden appearance of Jonathan Klondike.
I think everyone figured out there was going to be something up with him, but I don't think many people guessed that it would be specifically this, or that it would get revealed at episode 17.
That's not even halfway point, too. That's what's...
No.
It really isn't. They've been really rolling the ball with all the plot and the building up and building up.
Yeah, they've been doing plots like nonstop.
I
Like there's
know.
less like if there's actually filler, they will still reel the story into it. That's the great thing about the series is that there's less filler, or if there was filler, there's still story in it.
Well, the thing was, I remember when the first episodes came out, I complained about the lack of plot. I thought it was just plodding along. It feels like someone like leaned into the offices at Toy and said, "Hey guys, how are you doing with that plot that leads up to the introduction of the fifth Pretty Cure?" And they went, "Oh no, we forgot." It's like, quick, okay, so we got 5 crystals. It's gonna get into Princess now. So it feels weird in that respect because it feels like if this was planned out from the very beginning, it's really something that would usually get spread over several episodes. Like they'd find a royal crystal, 2 filler episodes, they'd find another royal crystal, etc., etc. But then kind of Regina shows up, and then the next episode, the royal crystal the royal crystals show up, then immediately Regina shows up, and then they've been finding 1 crystal an episode since then. I'm thrilled with all the plot that's coming out. Definitely thrilled. It's just it's weird how fast and furious it's coming.
Fast and Furious.
I just want to know how they're going to be able to top the second half if they get, if it leads to something really epic in the halfway point. What are they going to do?
Let's just hope it's not another Smile where the second half actually kind of started lacking.
I really don't think they're going to do that.
I hope not.
I've just got a feeling that they're not going to do that because
I'm hoping they learned from their mistake.
Because Jonathan Klondike is like a major thing right now, seriously.
yeah, I mean, Smile at this point barely had any plot at all. This one, we're getting new characters, we're getting the plot twists
And
with
that
the
stupid
royal
blue
crystals.
bird.
The Bluebird, the Royal Crystals with Jonathan, etc. The Long Runner with Makoto and how she's learning to accept others. We're getting a lot more plot this time, so I'd be so surprised if the midpoint came and nothing changed. I'm hoping for this level of plot all the way to the end. Maybe with a few extra fillers, because you gotta have fillers every so often just to kind of break up break things up, give everyone a chance to relax and stuff. But I'd be happy with plot all the way to the end.
And they still lose the Royal Crystal. That's a major thing. That's a major setup.
Considering that was the title,
Yeah,
you kind of expected that.
I know, but it's a major setup. You know, stuff is gonna happen.
I really like that Jonathan and Regina kind of duke it out. I mean, they do it off screen, but the fact that they were duking it out, I thought that was pretty cool.
So you gotta wonder how strong that guy really is.
I really wanted to see more of that battle because Jonathan was just a badass in that scene.
Yeah, we actually haven't had any male heroes since Kopei's human form.
We really haven't, no.
That's very true. It's mostly been girls for obvious reasons.
Yeah, this is a show aimed at girls.
But it's just the fact that you have this proverbial knight in shining armor.
Yeah,
I like that.
To help the Pretty Cures, and he needs to have a little bit of screen time. Or a little more screen time than he has already.
It actually staggers me that we've gone this long without that kind of character. I mean, in Heartcatch, there was the mysterious blue-haired guy who saved Blossom on occasions. Won't reveal his true identity, but eventually gets revealed.
The mysterious hot guy.
The mysterious hot guy. I think that's what they called him in the scripts.
Yeah.
But they had him, but he showed up every so often, but really wasn't that vital to the plot, I don't think. There was Coco in Pretty Cure 5, who I guess was really important, but hardly ever did any fighting. I'm surprised they haven't had like a hot, mysterious guy for the girls to really kind of fawn over.
For the record, Jonathan is not hot. He is not that level of attractive. Just saying.
He is hot.
No, he's not.
I think he's hot.
I think he's creepy. I don't like him.
I think he's hot. I'm male. I'd tap that. I don't know.
Wow.
I have no shame in saying that. I can appreciate an attractive person.
I don't think he's that awesome. In a civilian form, at least.
In civilian form, he's still a little creepy. And, they make note of it in the next episode, but I'm not going to delve into that. But, as the Knight of the Card Kingdom, I think he's really hot.
He is.
Yes.
In his Knight form, he's really hot.
Yes.
I don't know, I have a thing for guys in armor, and I'm,
And he gets really badass lines as well.
He does.
He has a freaking lightsaber.
That's no, that's more just like a glowing sword. It's not a lightsaber.
Oh, I thought that it disappeared. I don't know, that could have just been my eyes playing tricks on me. Either way, his sword powers up and glows.
It's going to be really interesting to see what role he kind of plays in the plot.
It's like Tuxedo Mask all over again.
No, because Tuxedo Mask kind of peters out.
Yeah, but he's just like the male hero that just comes up out of nowhere. The Jonathan Klondike has been doing that since for his debut. Now he does it in episode 18, which we'll get to in a bit.
I would still like to have him kind of hang around and actually be a constant presence as the girl's advisor or something.
Considering
like that.
now we know who he is,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna give him more of a role as a friend and a confidant rather than some creepy guy who's just like, hello, my ladies.
What I do not want is for them, like, the second half comes around and Jonathan's just like, I've discovered a clue. I must go now for 20 episodes.
And then he comes back evil.
No. Then he just leaves for like 20 episodes, and for no reason other than he needs to sit back so that the girls can fight on their own. I don't want to see that. That's such a typical thing that would happen in a show like this. And
or he dies.
What if he dies?
Oh, that would hurt.
You never know. They're pulling a lot of punches in this series.
Jonathan, it's me, Marianne. Why are you bleeding like this? We've finally been we finally back together again.
That would be heartbreaking.
We haven't had a real character, not evil character death in a while.
No, we haven't in a long time. If it adds weight to the story, then I'd be fine with that.
But if it's just to kill him off, not so much.
Not so much, no. I don't think there's any reason for him to die.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What if he pulls off like an Endymion kind of thing and takes King Selfish into himself?
Oh no!
Oh,
Like I said, he'd turn
God.
evil.
And then he turns evil.
Oh no!
He turns evil for like X amount of episodes.
Till
But
the
he's like-
end.
But he's like the final boss kind of thing.
Well, he's the boss right before the final boss.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. I will get to that in the next episode discussion. I promise. I have a theory about this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a little excited now. All right. So, episode 18, titled Appear, the Last Royal Crystal. So that means we get the last Royal Crystal. That's great. What happens is, well, after finding out who Joe really is, he kind of spills the beans that he was a knight of the Card Kingdom and the Queen's fiancé. And he finds a clue leading to the last crystal, which is a place of memories where it's like a train ride to a flower field. There he reveals to the girls who he really is and how he ended up becoming one of the last survivors of the Trump Kingdom. It's heart-pounding.
It's Doki Doki.
It's heart-pounding and heartbreaking at the same time because he was a hero who failed his mission, and it's really sad to see those kind of things. What do you guys think about this revelation?
Actually, I want to hear your theory
Honestly-
first.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay,
you've left
alright.
us hanging, and before we actually get to the episode, I'd like to hear what your theory is about him.
All right, in this episode, he says, Joe Okada is my alias in this human world. I'm sitting here watching the episode, I'm thinking, Joe Okada, and I'm repeating it a lot. Then it kind of like melded in a little from going from Joe Okada to Joe Kada. And I asked, I think one of our members, I asked one of our members, one of our
Maya.
Japanese speaking members, what da meant. Because, you know, I've heard it a few times, and I think someone said that it's like a preposition, you said?
Yeah. Da is a preposition that indicates the subject of the sentence.
So it might be saying that I am Joke, or this is Joker, or I am Joker. Because Joka, I get a lot from Kamen Rider Double. Joka is the romanization of Joker, which is usually either a trump card or the losing card. What is it in poker? What has Joker done in poker? It's usually like something bad.
Joker's not there is no Joker in poker.
Well, what do they do? Joker?
I rhymed.
What is the Joker used in card games though? It's like a bad card, right?
You can use it in Old Maid.
Is it like a wild card?
It's not a wild card. It's pretty much if you have the Joker, you cannot win the game.
Oh, well,
Because the Joker is not a real card.
It's not a real card, and it doesn't have a pair.
well, now that
So
we
you
talked
can't
about
get rid
him
of it.
being evil though, or the possibility of him being evil, I thought about his like, alias thing, and it's like, oh my god, what if he does become the final boss? What if he becomes the trump card, but of the wrong side?
That would be interesting
You
to
know?
see.
I would pay to see that.
That his name, his alias that he's using all this time is actually a foreshadowing of what's to come in the series.
Wouldn't surprise me. It would be really good to see something like that. I think I would make
I've been really grilling on this theory a lot, so
it would make
like,
it would make for a good final twist. I think.
because you know how they are with you know how Toei is with like wordplay and stuff. Jokada,
Hmm.
you know?
Oh yeah, I know. Toy loves their puns.
Yeah. So back to the episode. What do you guys think of it?
I had a train of thought, and it completely left me after you gave us your theory.
Is that bad? Did I do bad? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure that I will remember it in a couple of minutes.
It's fine. For me, I really like the conflict between Makoto and Joe. They kind of felt like two best friends, not two best friends, two lovers fighting over the same person. And when I say lovers, I don't mean to imply that Makoto was her lover. It's just the case of the way that she's acting is very much in that fashion. And
Jealous Makoto.
yeah, it was cute to see, and I think it really shed a lot of light on just how much Makoto loves the princess, and how much Joe loves the princess as well, but in his own way. Um, I really do kind of it makes me wonder more about Sword's life before she became a knight and before she met the princess properly, because Joe basically says, "Yeah, of course you don't know me. All of this happened before we got to know each other, and then got transferred. So I'm really wondering what Makoto was up to at that time. It's just making me more invested in the setting and the lore behind it. So I'd count that as a good thing. And
I just remembered what it was that I was going to say, but you can continue, and I'll wait until after.
no, I pretty much finished. The rest was just repeating what I've said. I wish I'd seen more of the Joe and Regina fight. I hope to see them actually fight it out properly at some point in the future as well. And I wouldn't mind seeing some more of Joe. I don't think Joe's actually going to have powers per se. Like, I don't think he's going to have like named attacks or anything. I think he's just a cool knight. But I'd like to see more of just what he can do, and hope he kind of stays as a presence within the show.
Like, okay, in the beginning of talking about this episode, you mentioned how, Joe feels that he's a failure for not being able to protect his princess. I personally don't see it as a failure. I just see it as the fact that he was off at the edge of the kingdom was pretty much what saved him and gave him an opportunity to make things right. Because if he had been in the kingdom, there was no chance that he was going to be able to survive that kind of attack without turning into selfish.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It was bad timing rather than a failure of his part.
And I mean, I understand why he would consider it a failure because he wasn't there to protect them, but
it's survivor's guilt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is, I think Makoto goes through that too, like survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But hers is a little more personal because she was there with the princess, and she couldn't save her.
In fact, the princess saved her, remember?
Exactly. So, Makoto's guilt, while in retrospect is about the same as Joe's, it's not.
I think that this episode reinforced, especially Joe's and Makoto's relationship, that it reinforces Makoto's standing of being the only one. Like I said before, that she thought she was the only Pretty Cure at first, but now that she made friends and Pretty Cure to stand by her, she's no longer alone. In this retrospect, she thought she was the only survivor of the Trump Kingdom. Now that she finds someone else who has the same mission as her, it makes her feel a little better, and that she feels more not comfortable, but like reassured that their mission of finding the queen will go well because she has someone else she feels she can depend on because of past experience.
Do you think Joe's going to end up being like her father figure?
That would be great. Like one of those things where she's like staying with him now. It's kind of like how Ellen stayed with Otokichi when she had nowhere to live and she was staying at his place.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Because, I mean...
Wait, she was living at his place? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I knew she was living at some place. I just didn't know that it was actually his residence.
Yeah, he supplied her with everything she needed to become human. Like, enrollment in the school uniform, how to live life, all that stuff.
You know the auditorium where he was building his organ? That's where she lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That makes a little more sense. It's been a while since I've seen Sweet, so...
That's cool.
I didn't remember that.
But yeah, I could see the two of them like bonding over their shared love for the princess and the fact they're both from the Trump Kingdom. It would be a kind of nice way to keep Joe in the show and give some character development for Makoto as well.
And I think it would reinforce the whole he turns evil thing a lot more, because then Makoto personally becomes torn to fighting him.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine. All right, that has been Freshly Picked Talk, reviewing the last few episodes of Doki Doki Pretty Cure. Coming up next, we have Open My Heart Corner. Open My Heart Corner is a look into the Pretty Cure community and the issues people are talking about right now. And what people are talking about at the moment is Daisuke.net. For those who don't know, Daisuke.net is the new Crunchyroll. They partnered up with a lot of anime companies like Toei Animation, Aniplex, especially Toei Animation, for CureCast reasons. What they've been doing recently is they've been holding a poll for anime to be streamed. On the list, which is why it's on this episode today, is Fresh Pretty Cure and Heartcatch Pretty Cure. Now, for those who already know and are Pretty Cure fans, you guys probably voted for Heartcatch Pretty Cure and or Fresh Pretty Cure, which is great because we really want Pretty Cure to be legally streamed in US airwaves. But let's talk about this for a second. Daisuke is not exactly a free service. It's like Crunchyroll. Some of it is free, some of it is you have to actually pay for. Or I think it's some and most, or most and some, you know.
Well, there was an interview they did with ukanime.co.uk. What they said there was that it's going to be mostly free. There's going to be some premium content that may be fee-based, but mostly what they're going to do is make it free, but with adverts.
Oh, that's great.
So, Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Wait, is Crunchyroll mostly free, or Crunchyroll is mostly paid?
It's pretty much the same kind of model that Crunchyroll has. If you're subscribed to stuff, you can watch stuff straight away. Otherwise, you have to wait a few days for it to become free, and even then, it's adverts.
Yeah.
Which is okay, to be honest. I don't mind that. Watching a few adverts is a small price to pay, no pun intended, for watching an anime that I really like, and it's probably the best way to support them.
Actually, we just have a news update, which is going to be very rare in these recordings. According to the Pretty Cure Live Journal group, there is a fourth poll. I didn't know there was a third one. I guess it's because it was never really mentioned. But there is a fourth poll, and among the listings is Smile Pretty Cure, Sweet Pretty Cure, and Yes Pretty Cure 5. So now we have at least 3 more series to vote for. That means I think number 2 is finished, or I think you can still vote in that one.
That's all the series, if I don't mind.
Well, don't forget Splash Star.
They're missing Splash Star, Max Heart, and Yes Go Go 5.
Futariwa has already been licensed.
But not Max Heart.
And currently has a license in effect, so I don't imagine that they'll be
for Max Heart as well, really?
It. I don't know. I don't know if it's for Max Heart though. That's
because we only have it on Hulu.
I do not know that. I do not know if it covers Max Heart. That's probably an agreement that they have behind closed doors.
Oh,
this is great.
Put it this way: it wouldn't surprise me if Futariwa, Pretty Cure, and Max Heart kind of were sold as a bundle because they're sequels to each other.
But they just haven't done anything with Max Heart.
Yeah, unfortunately they haven't, which is a real shame.
But who do you think will be subbing the series? I mean, like, we're probably going to get official subs, but where are the subs going to come from? Are we going to have, like, our subgroups are going to get recognized for their works, or will we actually have official subs from companies, say, Funimation, or does Toei Animation do their own subs? They don't do their own subs.
Sometimes they do. Well, what happened with Crunchyroll was essentially the people behind Crunchyroll approached a bunch of fan subbers that had good reputations and said, "Hey guys, do you want us to actually pay you to do your fan subbing?" And they said yes, and that's how most of the Crunchyroll subs come from.
That is great. Can you imagine that our fan subbers for the Pretty Cure series will get recognized for their works? Doremi, Curecom, Acer, Doki, I think is one of them.
Yeah, Doki.
Yeah, it'd be pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have and this is this is more than half the Pretty Cure series that have been voted for, or that are available for voting now. But how do you guys feel about Pretty Cure now getting that chance to be westernized?
I mean, there's always going to be pros and cons with having Pretty Cure be mainstream, but I honestly would like to see it become a little more popular, mainly because I like having more people to talk about it with. Because Pretty Cure is not very mainstream, so a lot of people have to be introduced to it. It would be nice if people could actually just find themselves involved in Pretty Cure and everybody can be happy.
For me, I'm happy with anything that helps Pretty Cure out. I think anything that offers your fandom any kind of chance to grow and to introduce a series that you love to more people should always be considered a good thing. You should never be upset that your fandom is getting bigger. And this is probably the biggest chance that Pretty Cure has had for a while to really reach a wider audience, because not only is Daisuke just there so that the Japanese companies can have an official outlet for streaming their anime, they're also going to be using it as a kind of testing ground to see which shows are popular and possibly encourage more licenses to be picked up.
Yeah,
So-
but for a testing ground, putting in more than half the series is like a huge gamble.
Well, put it this way, the cost of it being put up onto a site like Daisuke with just Japanese soundtrack, English subs is far lower than it would be to actually license it out to a Western studio for like a dub or sub or DVD release, because when a company buys a license, they've got to be reasonably sure that that show is going to be a huge success, which is why there's a risk involved. It's why not every show gets licensed. It's why companies like ADV Films, which used to do a lot of dubbing, went down the toilet because
I miss ADV Films.
They're actually called Sentai now.
Well,
yes, I miss them too. And the reason that their business failed is because they just kept licensing really, really obscure titles and giving them the full dub and sub DVD release.
and then no one ended up enjoying the series that they brought out to.
I don't
Well,
know. They gave us Evangelion. That's not a
Well,
bad thing
no,
for them.
it's not so
No,
much
no.
Ava, because Ava was one of their cash cows. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Ava was really, 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 really popular and helped fuel the anime boom. But they were literally licensing every single obscure anime out there on the basis that, oh, anime is really hot right now, this is going to sell like hotcakes. When in fact, it was a really obscure title and only a handful of people were really interested in it and would want to have bought it. So they were making when the anime bubble kind of burst, they started losing a lot of money, and that's what eventually put them out of business. However, with Daisuke, at least with Daisuke, suppose, for example, they put up Heartcat's Pretty Cure, and it in every episode gets like 10,000 viewers. Then they can go to a Western studio and say, hey, we've got this show, it's getting 10,000 views every single episode. Wouldn't that translate? And here's the numbers that shows that will translate into this amount of DVD sales, this amount of merchandise sales, etc., etc. It's more of an argument for licensing what shows that would otherwise be quite obscure. So, long story short, it gives Pretty Cure a chance to do really well and reach a wider audience and create a fan base that will go out to buy these DVDs and merchandise and such, which in turn would hopefully lead to a proper Western release and hopefully penetration into the Western market.
Well,
Proper penetration.
to be fair, the Magical Girl series isn't exactly popular.
And the closest when everyone thinks Magical Girl series, they either think Sailor Moon or Madoka Magica. So, and those two are really popular series even in the States now. So imagine how hard or what Pretty Cure would have to compete with in the Western world.
I think Madoka Magica is a bit of an exception to the rule more than
True.
anything else. Also, another thing that works against Pretty Cure is the fact that it's quite old, and that the animation is aging, especially for the earlier series.
Aging as in like in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way. Sometimes you can watch. Put it this way. Most animes these days are produced for HD. Futariwa Pretty Cure is not HD. It's SD. So considering that everything seems to be moving towards HD television, it's becoming a harder and harder sale to sell an SD series in an HD era.
Actually, I heard Marvelous AQL before they became Marvelous AQL re-release Futariwa in 2 DVD sets, but with higher quality episodes.
Oh, I'm not saying it's impossible, and you get like these HD remasters of older series as well that can sell. It's just a harder sell to Joe Studio that wants something that will make a quick buck to come along and say, yeah, we've got this series, but it was made 10 years ago.
Yeah, and 10 years is kind of outdated, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not just the resolution, it's the animation style as well. Because animation, if you've ever watched a 90s anime, you can tell it's a 90s anime just by the way it's drawn. And Pretty Cure kind of falls on that line where 90s anime was starting to move into the 21st century.
True. The way that they look is a huge improvement over time.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all in glorious HD now, which is really amazing.
Blu-rays.
Yep. But basically, like as I say, hopefully Pretty Cure gets voted in, it gets subbed, and it's really popular, and it gets a chance of being picked up for a proper Western release, like proper on television, DVDs, which leads to merchandise, etc., etc.
Now here's something I was thinking about when we were talking, especially because being brought over, some of our animes, say as Digimon, was introduced to us by Saban brands. I think you guys might know where I'm going with this. Do you think this description of the so-called Gangnam Girls has anything to do with the Pretty Cure with a certain Pretty Cure series?
Leo, I'll let you start with this one.
That name.
Yeah,
that
I know.
name is pushing all the wrong buttons with me. I'm hoping that it's just a code name and that maybe it really is Smile. But they're not winning any points with me by calling it that.
Well, Saban Brands has done similar stuff like Power Rider, which everyone assumed was a Kamen Rider thing. So Gangnam Girls might have just been a code name. But it was trademark. It was a trademark license, so we don't know. But that's one of the things that like could end up getting picked up from the eastern seas to the western land. You know what I mean? Because Saban has done that stuff before. Like they just don't do it. They just don't do it very well.
I will have so many conflicting feelings if any series gets released as Gangnam Girls.
I really hope they don't, because if they keep the tradition of the first dub series, Futari Pretty Cure, and just leave the name as is, I would be okay with that. Even with them changing their names to a Western style, I think I would also be okay with that. As long as they keep the source material to what it is and not change it entirely.
Yeah, I do not object to them changing the name. I just object to changing it to that name because that name bites.
There's just so much rage in me.
I am sorry.
No,
it's
just
something under the surface.
It's just that. Okay, I'm Filipino, so I'm Asian Pacific. I do not like the name Gangnam Girls for a Japanese anime because that's stereotyping the Asian culture as if they were Korean. And no offense to Gangnam Style, it had a great run up until it was, mashed into the ground. But I don't appreciate something like that because I've actually had people in real life, they ask me what nationality I am and they're like, Gangnam Style? I'm like, no. So that code name personally does not sit well with me.
The best part, the thing I like most about it is the fact that the song Gangnam Style was originally written as a parody of like the Gangnam District in Korea. So the song is making fun of Gangnam Style, or rather the song is making fun of that, and then you name a series about fashion after it.
Like, please choose your code words better. Please.
But Leo, the song Gangnam Style is popular with the kids.
Hopefully, if Power Rider didn't fall through, this wouldn't either. It's Saban brands. They're too busy focusing on Power Rangers right now. I think we'll survive.
Yeah, it could just be that they've put it in as not a stopgap, a safety measure. Like someone said, "Oh, Gangnam Girls is a good name for it. Let's just put in a copyright so no one grabs it and sit on it for a bit."
We're just gonna let everybody stew about it because.
No, but I mean it's pretty standard procedure. I mean there are games like the Tales series, for instance. They have no plans on releasing games like Tales of Hearts outside of Japan, but they've registered English trademarks for it, just so that someone doesn't swoop in, register the trademark, and then charge Namco a fortune to fork it over.
Don't break my heart, please.
No, I'm sorry, but that's an example of just registering your trademarks and covering your bases. So it could just be that for Gangnam Girls.
Well, if Daisuke's gonna do its job, let's just hope it does it right.
Mm-hmm. It won't be as bad as the 4Kids dub of Tokyo Mew Mew. So
I think I'm glad that I don't know what that is because
you've never.
Oh, 4Kids.
I had the Fox box. Have you ever heard of the Fox box?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Fox Kids after Fox Kids on Saturdays started becoming stupid.
Oh.
They had Shaman King and all that stuff. I did not know. I think Tokyo Mew Mew was in it, but I never really watched it, so.
Mew Mew power, Mew Mew grace, Mew Mew power in your face.
No, okay, you can stop there, please.
Seriously?
That was their catchphrase.
Oh.
Please stop now.
It was called Mew Mew power.
Oh, you poor series, you.
Do not break my heart any further. This is one of the reasons why I'm actually worried about dubs, is because, especially on a kiddie series like Pretty Cure, it will get, the original source will get run down.
Honestly, I think we're kind of past that point. There was a point in time where the fashionable thing to do was to like slice up anime and recut it together. I think we've kind of passed that point after 4Kids absolutely tanked, and the other companies said, "Hang on a second, maybe paying a lot of additional money to edit these episodes down, and then it being a horrible failure because of that isn't such a good strategic idea."
I just hope Pretty Cure doesn't go through that because, we have like our run of big-breasted characters like Majorina, Mamo, Northa.
You have Tsubomi in the first episode of Heartcat.
Yeah, those are some of the things that if you're gonna give it a show, if you're gonna bring a show to the Western audience for little kids, you might have to be a little wary about these things. But at the same time, I hope they are more considerate of, keeping the source material. I'm very picky about source material.
It also just depends on if Pretty Cure gets licensed, who is the one that's licensing it.
Well,
who does the dub as well?
Well, animes nowadays, especially during these recent times in Japan, I feel that kids have an understanding of certain things, so which to them caters to a teen audience like us. Well, except we're not teens, we're now adults. But who will license it probably will cater more to the teen audience because anime has mostly catered to teen audiences.
It depends. Pretty Cure is one of these shows where with a little bit of creative dubbing, you could adjust the target age quite
because you don't really have kid animes like over in the States anymore. Like Doraemon's not even in the States, and that's a kid classic. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think it'd be a long shot to get like a little girl's anime into the States because of what anime caters to in the Western world today.
That's an interesting thought, yeah.
Hopefully Daisuke does its job. Don't forget to vote. I only know you can get them so far. I know you can get them from the Pretty Cure Live Journal. Remember, number 4 has Smile, Sweet, and Yes 5. Number 2 has Heart Catch and Fresh. Don't forget to vote for those, and don't forget to vote for your favorite anime. And, come discuss with us. Oh, speaking of, I did put on a little clip that saying we will showcase some of your opinions about this. I really enjoyed reading what you guys had to say. I'm really grateful, actually, that you guys responded. So let's go over a few things. Let's go over some of these. From the Pretty Cure Live Journal group is Asia Fan replying, "Yes, more official Pretty Cure streams are nice, as it can spread the popularity of the Pretty Cure franchise and help with the series as a whole. But I wish they would stream the Washio style Pretty Cure first, like Splash Star and Yes 5. Because I think those series are really what made Precure. Well, at least they got Heart Catch, which was the series that brought back the Pretty Cure series to its former glory."
So basically she's saying that Fresh was crap.
Wow.
I thought Fresh was actually like
if you
one of
read
the better
between
ones.
if you read between the lines of what she's saying, she's essentially saying that Go-Go and Fresh were bad.
I didn't like Go-Go, but hey Asia Fan, at least we have Yes 5 in poll number 4. I think I know what you're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just vote for all of them? Because I really would. Because
I think I'll do that as well.
Why not both? No, I'm kidding.
Why not Zoidberg? I mean...
Also, from our Tumblr, someone also replied, named Moe Maniac, "Yes, this will show that overseas fans support official and legit stuff and not just Precure." So remember, not just Precure. Vote. This is a great opportunity to get your favorite shows over, because I know what I'm voting for. I hope you do too.
And a good thing about that is if Daisuke start streaming the really popular animes, I mean your Sword Arts Online, your Madoka Magica, Attack on Titan, etc., it would bring more people to that site, and then the greater chance that people see or looking at other animes that's available and it's like, oh, Pretty Cure, I'll give that a shot.
Actually, according to this list here, it's listed from S to Z. Like SE to Z, like starting with Sekirei. So that's probably why Sweet, Smile, and Yes 5 were listed. I think they're labeling Yes 5 and Yes 5 Go as the same thing. Probably.
Well, they essentially are.
Alright, and that has been Open My Heart Corner. Up next, we'll be in and out in this fun little segment called Free Splash. Free Splash is our cool-off period, taking a break from the greatness that is Pretty Cure to be ourselves and not CureCasters, but friends in a call, because we are not friends when we are CureCasting. Haha, I kid.
Rude.
Oh, that hurts my feelings. I thought we were friends all the time. That's what being a team is all about.
You know I love you guys. You know I love you. I'm not going to go any further.
Let's not have a recap of what happened off recording.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just talking to you guys just makes me a little,
It's okay. Everything is okay. We have love and friendship on our side.
You have a very good kitty voice.
Whoa.
It scares me a little. I think it's because you're not. It's not because you're Asian, are you?
No.
Because it really scares me that you have a very good kitty voice.
Maybe it's because I practice. No, I really don't practice. It just sort of comes naturally.
Let's move.
It also.
Let's move away from that point. Do you do much? Have you ever thought about doing much voice acting?
I have but at the same time, I'm actually very nervous about recording stuff. Like you should have seen how I was when we were first recording.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not really into voice acting myself, mostly because I've tried it and I can't make my voice sound like different than what I sound when I'm talking. I prefer just singing, and I do a lot of fan covers, so so that's why I don't voice act, because I can't make my voice sound like something else.
well, the thing is, Leo, it's like when we're recording the first episode, that's us just kind of being ourselves. Acting is different. I mean, with acting, you've got a script, and you can focus on that rather than being nervous.
Well,
Yeah, but the last time we did that, Leo-chan was like, "Hi, Leo-chan des!" and all that stuff.
because
You've been practicing your Leo voice.
Well, because I
I
was
can't
really
wait for
nervous,
you
that
to
was
dub her.
actually a lot louder and more boisterous than I really wanted it to be.
I
Yeah.
thought it was good.
Oh, well, okay, thank you. But,
So what kind of stuff have you done? I'm curious now.
wait,
Free fan dubbing?
I haven't done
Yeah,
it.
dubbing.
Oh, you're talking to him. Okay.
Both of you, because
Well-
you said you've both done voice acting.
Well, no, I haven't done voice acting. I've wanted to try it, but
I think you should give it a
again,
shot.
I want to try it, but at the same time, I'm so unsure about trying to act, because whenever I have a script in front of me, you can tell that I'm reading off of a script, because I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
It's something that you get with practice, you know?
I know,
Yeah.
practice makes perfect, but
I'll tell you what, if I ever decide to do that dramatic reading of dissonance,
oh
I
god,
will
no!
drag you in to do all the female voices.
Oh no!
And you
I
can't
don't know
say
how,
no.
I don't know how Coogan will feel about that.
Oh.
Coogan will love it.
Oh God. God bless her soul,
But I
or
mean,
whatever pitful hate she's ever from.
mainly, I honestly don't know why I don't try acting. It's just a whole bunch of nerves and a whole bunch of self-confidence issues. I feel more confident just talking with friends rather than having to do
Yeah.
that as a career or what have
Oh
you.
no, I'm not like saying you should voice act as a career. I'm just because there's like lots of fan dubs out there. Like
Like a bridge series. You know?
you got bridge series. You've got just amateur fan dubs in general.
Yeah, Precure fan dubs. You can always ask
Well,
him.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah, I remember for a while.
sorry. One of the reasons why I also don't do it is because my house, you can hear through everything. So I don't want to end up getting, sound complaints because I'm too loud or all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's
the trouble I get with fan covering. It's I don't live on my own, and I live in like a 3-story house, a 3-apartment house. I have neighbors upstairs and I have neighbors downstairs, and so it makes it a little harder to actually do covers because of how obnoxiously loud I can be when singing.
You mean you're not obnoxiously loud all the time? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Ow!
Heart.
there's like a lot of ways you can cancel sound, but I mean, if you don't really have like a closet or somewhere like that.
I don't
you
have a
can
big closet.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen people like turn their closets into makeshift studios, and basically all you have to do, it doesn't even have to be a permanent thing. It's literally you get like sound cancelling foam or whatever, just wall, close the
No.
door.
Mom will never let me do that.
No,
but
see,
Well, I'm
there's
not
no
saying
such thing as a closet in my room.
yeah,
I'm
not
not
mine.
saying I'm not saying you should remodel your closet. I'm just saying like you get a big strip of foam and you put it up and take it down
No,
when needed.
no, I'm
Wait, so,
I'm
like,
actually
put it all over your wall?
no, I'm actually being
Yeah.
quite serious. My closet doesn't have a door. It never came with a
Ah.
door when we moved in.
That'd be great, but like that's a lot of surface area, man. And then put it under the door and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
It is, but it really depends on how passionate you are. Again, I mean, look at it. Look at it in this term. Some amateur voice actors spend a lot of money just buying a microphone that has good sound quality.
That's true. Yeah, I kind of want one.
There's like cheap ways you can get around this, expensive ways to get around it. You just have to kind of look at your wallet and think, how much am I willing to spend
Yes, well, my wallet is
on...
quite empty at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only have like $20 to my name. Actually, $38 to my name, but
And you
know,
spend
that's
that all on food. We found that out last episode.
Actually, yeah, that's gonna happen on Sunday. Food and drinks. If you don't hear from me on Sunday, I'm sorry.
That's
Go on
fine.
without me.
Oh
We'll
well.
just
But-
assume that you're eating.
No, but I would actually love to get an upgrade to my mic because I've actually mostly been doing all mic recordings, CureCast and fan coverings with a Rock Band mic.
That's fine. Rock Band mics are cool.
No, but they're dynamic mics. I need a condenser. And
Oh,
they're
okay.
not very good sound quality. Sometimes when I listen to it, it sounds like when I listen to my recordings, like what I'll probably do when I start editing this is that like it's going to sound very, how do I put it? Like robotic, I guess. It sounds hollow, or it sounds. It
That's
doesn't make me sound good. I don't. I sound different than how I hear myself talk.
Well, that's generally the case whenever you're kind of recording your own voice. Based on what I'm hearing, it's probably just you're in an area that echoes. I mean, before the podcast came, before we started recording the podcast, I said, hang on guys, I need to switch rooms. I need to move from a room where there's echoing everywhere to a room where there is not.
Well, it's either this room, which is my room, or the bathroom, and I don't think anyone would appreciate me just dominating the bathroom.
Jamie, dear, why are you spending 3 hours in the toilet?
I'm doing my
I'm not
business!
telling you, Mom!
Ah.
I'm doing my business! Leave me alone!
Private business, Mom!
So anyway, on the CureCast... No, I'm kidding.
Excuse me while I popcorn gif over here.
Oh,
And
God.
I don't care if it's supposed to be GIF. I'm saying GIF.
Yeah, I think I'm doing that as well.
What, popcorn?
No.
Or GIF?
Okay. You know what? You can explain this because it just makes me.
Oh, is this the whole...
Yeah.
Is this the whole creator of the GIF guy saying... It's
It-
not GIF, it's GIF.
Yeah.
Like, GIF as in, like, the peanut butter?
The sad thing is that we have there used to be a washing detergent over here that was called Jif. And
Jif.
They spelled it with the J-I-F.
It depends, actually. I don't know how it actually works. I think it's an Italian or it's a European thing where like G's and C's before an I and E are usually soft. In certain cases, say like chiamo, which means it's just Italian for name. It's C but has an H after, which makes it hard. So instead of chiamo, it'd be chiamo.
Long story short, languages are weird.
Yeah, I don't understand how they get words like giddy or giddy up.
Till
or...
there, I'm still going to use GIF.
Boy, I hope you like the English language. That's fun when it comes to pronunciation.
I know speak English.
Let's just talk Japanese from now on, because we're pretty curious.
No.
Yeah.
At
Okay,
least
see-
Japanese is slightly more efficient than
See,
English is.
whenever I marathon anime, I end up starting to speak, Japanese or weeaboo, as you guys, like, if you guys have listened to the first episode, you will know.
Leah-chan dance.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I had marathoned quite a few episodes of anime, and I don't remember what, but I know I did, because otherwise I wouldn't have done that.
I kind of have to. I watch a lot of
Well,
Japanese stuff.
Well, I've also realized that anything fandom in any, any country like, America or Britain, Great Britain or Japan, I end up changing the way I speak. I'm kind of like sucking up
A
the
chameleon?
language in my head. Or
No, to be honest, what you're saying isn't that uncommon because even if they speak the same language, your brain kind of has to switch. Because I mean, I remember when I visited Japan, my brain kind of switched into Japanese.
Oh, God.
Because well, the thing is, okay, it's like if you're walking down the street and you accidentally bump into someone, your reaction has to be in their language. So your brain kind of clicks onto Japanese so that you can be prepared for splits, so to speak the right language if you need to on instinct. And I will say it was very weird when I came back home. It actually took me a couple of days to totally switch back into
I
English.
can only imagine my friends then. I actually do have friends in Japan right now, and I can imagine how their brains are working in terms of language. I mean,
It's the best way to learn a language. Immerse yourself.
I've taken Spanish, high school Spanish, and I'm in a Spanish-esque neighborhood, and I never switch to a point that I actually forgot my Spanish. So
Well, I mean, to be fair, you are in America, and the main language is English, regardless of where you are.
yeah, but everyone speaks Spanish in this area, and it's like I don't hate it, but the fact that I don't know how to speak it anymore when it could have been useful here kind of annoys me. Same thing with my Italian, but then again, we only have one Italian place here.
If it really annoys you, like go to night classes or something.
That's
You know.
what college is for, you know.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, and that was Free Splash. Right now, we transition over to Sweets Time, your radio show to Pretty Cure Music. Come join us as we listen to select tracks handpicked by our Music Cast Fairy wing. Starting up, we have the Pretty Cure Sweet Session Ensemble from the series Sweet Pretty Cure.
Some of these songs during Sweets Time may be excerpts of the originals due to copyright laws. If you are interested in these songs, please support the official releases. You may purchase CDs, DVDs, and other Pretty Cure media on websites such as Yes Asia and CD Japan. If you like what you hear, you can visit the links in the video description. Thank you.
And that was Pretty Cure's Sweet Session Ensemble from Sweet Pretty Cure. That is the last group attack of the Cures, right? Just making sure.
I think it is. If you don't count the final episode attack, I think they do something.
No, not that. I mean, like when they have the
Trolling chest.
Trolling
chest. Yes, trolling chest.
Ah.
I actually don't like that attack that much. It's fun. It was actually hilarious when it failed the first time, but
No, it was a good attack.
I'm not a fan of it.
You're not a fan? Why you aren't a fan?
Not so much, no. Because, like, I don't know. I think it's just them flying, you know? There's not much to it. It's just being carried by a giant crescendo troll and then just flying straight forward into the enemy. There's not really much into it at all. There's no pizzazz. There's no style. It's just straightforward.
A giant
I think it's one-
golden fairy tone appears as if from nowhere, picks up 4 girls with nothing but its own power, and then headbutts the enemy.
That's kind of that's as epic as getting punched in the face with love and friendship.
That one I like. The hard catch final group finisher was awesome.
Maybe I'm
This
just
one not so much.
maybe it's just because I live near Glasgow, and in Glasgow, getting headbutt is pretty common finishing move.
I don't know. I mean, the ending of Sweet did it better. It was like, because all of a sudden it just appears out of nowhere and starts flying. But in the ending, it just gets big and then bigger and then bigger. It's like, doo 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 doo. I was like, oh snap.
Oh.
That's the only time I ever loved it though. But that's mostly because I think they got their final power ups from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the thing I didn't like about it is that it didn't signify a huge power up. And it was just them in their base form. That was just basically it. Kind of reminds me of where I am with Fresh Pretty Cure, and they don't even have angel form yet.
I have to ask, what would you have done differently?
At least I don't want to say mimic Heart Catch, because mostly Heart Catch, they didn't really use their mirage forms a lot. They only used it for the attack. At least, I don't know, show it for a bit. Show like upgrade forms when doing the attack, and just be a little more personal with it, not just carried by a giant thing and then flying through the air, you know?
Well, the thing is, it's kind of the standard for Pretty Cure now. I mean, it's been
like so simplistic.
Yeah, but it's just the way it is now.
But compare it to Smile. Well, they only use their princess forms to do their attack, but it had a lot of style, and it had a lot of stuff in it. It wasn't simple.
So you kind of wish that their outfits had actually changed earlier on in the series rather than at the very end of.
Kind of that, but it's not more so the outfit. It's more so the attack style is what gets me about this Sweet Session ensemble. Is that it's just very straightforward. Like Heart Catch was like a giant lady just charging up an attack, and then each segment shows the other cures, and then smash down on the enemy. Smile was like
Firing unicorns.
riding unicorns, but it was like a wonderful and elegant style. And then it showed it form a constellation, which is actually kind of cool. I didn't even know Phoenix could be a constellation, but anyway. But this one's just a giant fairy picking them up, flying, and then bam.
I like it. Sorry, but I like it.
I don't hate you for it. Actually, I kind of hate you for it. No, I'm kidding.
Wow, there's just so much love here.
Hostility in the air.
No, seriously though. I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna force it on you.
No, it's fine.
It's just like I just can't see the big thing about it. The music is okay, but it doesn't. Sweet Session Ensemble is not my favorite group attack.
Fair enough.
What about you guys?
I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it because honestly, it was just another power up for me. But then again, it's been a while since I've watched Sweet, so it would probably have a different impact if I watched through it.
Did it make a difference when Cure Muse was in it? I was like, did it get any stronger?
I don't think they could do it without Cure Muse.
They did. I actually made sure when I was researching this, I made sure to see what it was. It was Cure Melody, Cure Rhythm, and Cure Beat at first. And then once Cure Muse was part of it, she was kind of like shopped in.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering, is if Cure Muse actually adds to it. Because they got their group finisher before they got their final member. Which I don't know if it's supposed to signify anything or if it's supposed to mean anything. Like, does it get stronger now that they got their final member? Or does it make them just strong as it is? And just adding another cure will change anything.
Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I actually have, unfortunately, no.
I think it just powers it up. I don't really have much more to say. I really don't have much more to contribute.
It doesn't look like it powers it up. That's the thing, you know.
Oh.
It looks very simplistic, and it just doesn't show any signifying change. Like how how Smile went from the unicorn to the Phoenix. And the Phoenix shows it's a significant power-up because they started using the stupid clock. This one, when Cure Muse was added in, there was no change. It was just adding in another person. But It just didn't feel
Ma-
like there was change.
Maybe that was lazy, but it wasn't something so egregious that I took fault with it.
I don't know.
I was happy to see her there.
Next, we move on to Dark Pretty Cure Summoned from the Yes Pretty Cure 5 movie, Great Miraculous Adventure in the Mirror Kingdom. And that was Dark Pretty Cure Summoned from the Yes Pretty Cure 5 movie. All I have to say about it is that it's so old. You can definitely hear the quality in the music that it's like very old style, but I don't hate it, you know?
I really loved that music. It really,
Oh god.
yeah, hearing that music reminds me of how cool the Dark Cures were when they showed up. Because
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. That's why I'm watching Yes 5, because I want to get to that point.
wait, so you included this song, but you don't want us to discuss what happened?
No, keep going. You're like hyping me
I
up.
like the fact that this is the first time you ever see Dark Cures in the Pretty Cure franchise.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't count Michiru and Kaoru from Splash Star, this is
Yeah.
like officially Dark Cures.
Yeah, and it was done really well, I think, for what it was, for characters and for incidental characters in a movie. I think it was done pretty well.
Do you think they would have been better if they were antagonists in the series?
I think so, but then I also wanted the bad end cures in Smile Pretty Cure to be antagonists in the second half of the series, just because they would have made really interesting antagonists.
Well, comparing those two, the Dark 5 and Bad End Cures, like, Dark 5 are supposed to be mirror reflections of the Yes 5 group, mostly as like their pre-transformed state where they're like before they have the resolve to become Pretty Cure, where Bad End Cures were more so the negativity of the world just taking the form of the small cures as a sick, cruel joke by Joker.
Really?
No.
I didn't get that. I thought that
They weren't reflections. They weren't reflections of of the smile
I
cast.
thought they were reflections. I'm just gonna put that.
No.
I totally disagree with you there. I think,
Really?
yep, I think they were reflections. I think each of them was talking about issues that were very close to each of their counterparts' hearts.
Because they really didn't seem like reflections, which is one of the things I didn't like about the Bad End Cure move on Smile, was that there wasn't enough of them, and it was either that they were reflections, or they were just taking the form of the negativity of the world into the Smile Cure because Joker is a butthole.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got the bad end piece, who is a crybaby and a trickster and babyish. How can you say that it's not a reflection of Yaui's darker side?
That's mostly because Joker does a lot of studying on the cures, and he's very manipulative, he's very cunning. He would actually be the type out of the Bad End Generals to do all this research. And, if you're gonna shape the enemy after your enemy, then you're gonna have to want to be a little more exact, but at the same time, make them feel they're more on your side. It's sort of like a psychological thing.
So-
They're not really reflections. They're just reflecting off their appearance while representing the negativity of the entire world.
So they're carefully molded by Joker based on Joker's personal studies of each of the Pretty Cure's strengths and weaknesses, but they are not reflections or tailored
Of their heart.
to the Pretty Cures in any way.
They're reflections of appearances, not a reflection of the hearts like that. It's
That makes
like
no
Dark-
sense. Can I just point out
Oh.
that your argument makes absolutely no sense, that he
Really?
studies their strengths and weaknesses but does not pattern each cure off of their strengths and weaknesses? That's what you're arguing?
Because there's no conflict between them, between the two groups. That's the thing. There's
to
no.
be fair, they only had one
Yeah.
episode. If they had more than just, like 10, 15 minutes, I'm pretty sure that there would be more interactions and more, what's the term? Pretty much there would be more development between each group.
Which is why I really wanted to see more of the bad end cures. I really wanted to see that concept given more development. I mean, the original kind of evil opposites in Tokusatsu, the Neji Ranger, they were known as the Psycho Rangers in Power Rangers. They were pretty much evil opposites. But they had like a 10 or 20 episode arc. No, it was something like 10 or 15 episodes where you got to see how they interacted with their counterparts. Eventually, they started turning on each other and trying to scheme their own ways. It was fantastic because it made you care more about them as characters instead of kind of just one-shot enemies. That's why I would really want to see more from them, or rather that character archetype in Smile Precure. They get a bit of it in the Yes Precure 5 movie, but that's
because they have more time to be on screen and you can actually see them slightly interacting. I mean, it would be nice if it were expanded more, but because it's a movie, you can only do so much. And with what they had, I like it.
Also, I've got to point out the fact that it's a movie, so by its very nature, your storytelling should be compressed. So what we saw, if the Pretty Cure movie was a TV show, then the interactions with the cures that we saw would probably have been spaced out to about 5 episodes or so. But instead, because it's a movie, it's, they enter the mirror world and then they go straight to the main meat of the arguments, essentially. And then that gets resolved quickly as well because they need to move on to the fight. But then Dark Dream gets a bit more of a plot line as well.
Yeah, but aren't they a little more personal because they're dark reflections compared to just like based on little interactions between the Smile and the Bad End cures? Like they weren't personal at all. That's the thing.
I would totally argue against that. I think that they were totally reflections. The only difference is that in the movie, they literally say, "Oh no, they are dark reflections." And in the Smile Pretty Cure series, it's pretty much implied by how they look, how they sound, how they act, their motivations, their attacks. Literally everything about them implies that they are dark reflections created specifically by Jokers to defeat the Smile Precures.
You know what? This is a very good discussion that I want to post on Tumblr.
Fair enough.
I like this. If you guys are listening, this is something that I'm going to ask you, but I can ask now. What do you guys think are the Bad End cures compared to the Dark Precure 5 to their original counterparts? That will be posted on Tumblr, and you will get the opportunity to answer. I can't wait to see how that goes. Finally, Sweet's time is not complete without a vocal track. Here is Tsubomi, not to be confused with Heartcatch, sung by Yukana, the voice actress of Yukishiro Honoka from Futariwa Precure.
あなたを見つけるの
That was Tsubomi by Yukishiro Honoka of Tarewa Pretty Cure.
Okay, so have you ever had those moments where you had, something is so nostalgic in your mind and you really, really enjoy it, and then you go back and you watch it and you're like, I don't love this anymore. Guess what just happened to
no.
me?
You didn't like it.
What happened?
I mean, I liked it. I was, humming and
Mm.
singing to it, but then I was just like, wow. Every now and then when she would sing, it would grate at my ears, and I don't ever remember it doing that.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how she sings normally. She sounds a lot different when she does other roles, like Mezul from Kamen Rider O's. She sounds a lot different. She doesn't have that high-pitched Honoka voice that she uses from the original series and All Stars.
I wasn't a fan of that song. It didn't sound like something that Honoka would sing. That was just my opinion.
I remember listening to it back in the
Mhm.
day. God, I feel so old. And I actually did like it, and I listened to it enough that I actually knew some of the, lyrics. But listening to it now,
Not a fan.
no, not really. And I
I'm
mean,
not
I love Yukana. That's the thing. But this song just wasn't really
That's a
that
shame.
great.
She doesn't really sound like that when she sings, does
No,
she?
I think she's putting on a voice. Because she's singing, it's a vocal track, so she's singing in character.
Because it sounded really nasally at some point, and
Yeah.
I think those were the parts that really grated on my ears. I actually, I don't have the words for it. It's just I didn't like the song.
But I don't think I like the song either.
Me neither, no.
But I mean, like I said, back in the day, I really loved it because oh my god, Honoka, and I loved Honoka. You don't understand. But then listening to it now, after I've heard so many different songs, it has not. It's not sitting very well with me now, which is really unfortunate because I really like Honoka. I love Honoka.
Maybe one day as we go through more Sweets time and you're a part of the cast, we'll get another Honoka song and then it might sound a little better to you because her songs actually kind of vary and some are good, some are bad. This is just one of the bad ones.
I mean, there might be people who think that the song is like the bomb and they absolutely love it, but me personally, I just don't like it anymore.
I personally don't think that this song style is a very good style for Honoka's character. There's a song she has, I think, called "If." It's more mellow and it's cooler. It's not peppy sounding ish, and I think it's the way that it's sung sounds a lot better than this whole skippy thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there you have it. That is our radio show Sweets Time. We are now at the end of the race, wrapping up with Ultra Happy Panel. Ultra Happy Panel is a discussion group focusing on the topics of the Pretty Cure series in general, from favorites to things that stood out to legit unexplained mysteries that surround the series. In today's episode, we shall begin with your favorite Pretty Cure hairstyle.
Why don't you go first in this one, Jamie? Because you've been talking a lot about styling your hair after Cure Rouge.
You got me there. Yeah.
You kind of make it really obvious. You're just like, yay, I've got it. Like,
it wasn't my idea for this one, but
I gotta ask, is it original Rouge or Go-Go Rouge?
Is there a difference? They look the same to me.
She has slightly longer hair in Rouge and longer bangs. Go-Go.
Both actually. They both are the same style. Cause I personally, out of all the Pretty Cures, from Pineapple Head to, I can't really compare Pineapple Head, but Cure Rouge's hairstyle is actually more suitable of my style because I have a tendency to grow my hair a lot, and I actually cut it earlier in March, so my hair is back at that phase where I can style it again. And it just dawned to me when I made this confession on Tumblr to, I think, Magical Girl Confessions or Pretty Cure Confessions, that I want to model my hair after Cure Rouge because it just looks
Badass.
boyishly awesome.
It's pretty badass.
It's boyishly awesome is what it is. Because it's so gender neutral. That's the thing. You can't say it's completely a girl style, mostly because it's Rin's character to be a tomboy.
Hmm.
So, and it reflects off that. You can't do that with Sunny because she has a giant bun on her head. But you can do that with Cure Rouge because it's just like, it looks like a giant fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. So I spend every day before when I'm gonna go out, I spend every day styling my hair so I can model that. So if you guys have seen this confession, this is me right now. I was the one who submitted that confession, and I still do it. And every day I get closer to doing it.
Oh.
I take pictures. I take pictures every day so that I can show it to you guys. But then I get self-conscious and then I never show it, mostly because I find out it's a little bit off, and I don't like it when it's not perfect.
You are just so proud of your Cure Rouge hair.
I love it. It's so fun. The only thing is that her front bangs are way too long, and I can't mimic that. Her front bangs are way too long. But
Someday.
I can try her fire head, and that's fun, you know? It's creative, and it gives me a chance to use my Gatsby a little more. I love my Gatsby, and I'm actually running out. But enough about Cure Rouge. Her time has passed. How about you guys?
I would be playing favorites because I really love Moonlight's hair.
I'm actually gonna agree with you there. My favorite hairstyle would be Moonlight's, just because it's the flick at the front, isn't it?
It is the flick in the front because she just makes such a big, huge point. Pardon my pun.
Yeah.
It's just such a big, huge deal to have the hair flick, the bang flick. It's like the most.
Yeah. When that happens.
It's just like the most important part, almost.
When that happens, you know she's serious.
But if you want hair flick, why don't you go with Beat? She has like the guitar hair.
She does have the
she
guitar
has the
hair,
she has the electric ahoge.
She does, but the thing that's really cool about Moonlight is that like literally part of her transformation sequence is that she takes the front of her hair and just flicks it up.
I mean like with
and
Beat,
and it's really
and
badass.
like with Beat, I mean yes she messes with her hair, but that's outside of transformation. And
oh, so you're saying it's like
Plus
a transformation thing?
Plus, she plays it as an air guitar, which isn't quite as badass.
Yeah, but it made a sound.
It did make a sound. That was really awesome. I'm not gonna lie about Beat's hair, but there's just something really elegant about Moonlight's hair, and then just the pointy bang off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about Dark Pretty Cure's hair? She kind of technically has that in her little princess cut thing. She has like her bangs kind of have that flick just a little bit.
Well,
just a little bit.
They do, but it's not quite as prominent as Moonlight's.
Okay. Mostly because Dark Cure never transforms. So,
yeah, because
it's mostly a princess cut.
Permanently in that state. I mean, that's the state that she was obviously born in, but with Moonlight, it's just so much emphasis on the hair.
So, do you ever think that Dark Precure's hair actually grows?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because yeah, if she's been born and created to be a weapon, then it and actually like force grown in a tank, then it stands to reason that she's got some kind of Saiyan gene going on where her hair just doesn't grow.
That's the second Dragon Ball Z reference you made in this episode.
It's true. Are you on a Dragon Ball kick?
I'm not. It's just a happy coincidence.
But I mean, I also like Yuri's hair because my hair doesn't do the whole strange, big, huge forehead thing and then off to like one side, but I do part my bangs on the same side that Yuri does. So yeah.
I still think you should get a Moonlight wig.
Well, I mean, like they have it on eBay. I mean, I actually did have I did cosplay as Pure White at one point, and I did have the hair. I actually do my hair with the really high half ponytail on the top of my head some days.
Yeah, but they have but the Futari Wildcast, except Shiny and Luminous, have the most normal hair the entire series.
They really
Pretty much.
did. But it's just, I also like Honeka's, or like, Pure White's hair, mainly because it's just easier to style.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's probably because of the silhouette rule. Do you know of this?
Do what?
The silhouette rule. It's whenever you're designing it's sort of an unwritten rule that when you're designing characters in animation, your characters should be able to be recognized by their silhouettes alone.
You mean like just by their shape?
Yep, just by their shape. Like if you think of The Simpsons, for instance, if you just saw the shadows of The Simpsons, the five main characters, you'd be able to tell which one is which, because you're like, oh, Bart's got that kind of hairstyle. Lisa's got that kind of hairstyle. After Pretty Cure became a franchise, the silhouette rule probably kicked in, and they were like, okay, we need to make it so that each Cure is distinct from the last one. I'm just throwing that out
I
there.
actually didn't know about that rule. I mean, it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it, but
It's an unwritten rule for good design.
Yeah, but look at how many anime have all those crazy hairstyles, like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. Like that's really
Yeah.
abusing the silhouette rule. I'm not saying Pure abuses it, but there's some funky hairstyles.
But then again, you could pick out Yu-Gi-Oh from a lineup, couldn't you? So it works.
Okay.
he does have a point.
All right. Okay, you got me there. But what about your least favorite hairstyle?
Oh, God.
That's all. I really don't have one. I've never kind of looked at a hairstyle and thought, I don't like that.
If there's a hairstyle that I really don't like, or that I'm not very partial to, it would probably have to be Egret.
Really?
Egret.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
was gonna
I
s-
She does have that
honestly like. I mean, like I like their hairstyles, but it's not my favorite.
I was gonna say Pineapple Head, but
Okay, which one is Pineapple Head? You keep saying that.
Cure Bloom.
Oh, well, I mean, it's in the same genre, or it's in the same.
It's the
season.
same genre.
It's the same season, so
Same show.
I mean, if it's not going to be the Splash Girl's hair, it'll probably be Shiny Luminous, because I would never be able to have hair that huge.
Funnily enough, I was trying to rack my brains thinking about it, and I was thinking if I had to pick one, it would probably be Shiny
Wow.
Luminous. No kidding. Because the thing is, she's got the ponytails, but they're not even neat ponytails.
They're ruffled. They're like ruffled things, like giant feathers.
They're ruffled and just not well kept at all. And
It doesn't look awesome.
It looks a bit like a mess.
I actually kind of lied. I don't really mind Saki's hair a lot because there's actually a Cure's hair I hated the most. It's actually Dark Aqua.
Oh, we're counting the dark cures as
Do you
well.
want to count the Dark Cures?
Well, we can.
Well, you're counting them,
I
so
guess we can.
Well, I'm just saying Dark Aqua because she really is bottom of the barrel here. I really don't like Dark Aqua's hair,
Oh.
mostly because
I
it
thought it
mostly
was
makes her
cool.
head look square and way too much forehead. Way too much forehead. It's the shape. It's the shape that the ponytail's in, and it looks really unnatural, kind of.
Here's a question for you, actually. Would you prefer if the hairstyles got more complicated or less complicated as for the next season?
Honestly, I think it just depends on the character type. Because, I mean, if we look at all the past Cures, like, if you look at Itsuki versus Cure Sunshine, her hairstyle just went just wow.
Yeah.
It's not complicated, but it was so different from what her actual hair was.
But that was part of her character, though, wasn't it? Because she wanted to be a girl, and so she got the girliest hairstyle.
But I
of
mean, it
all
just
four
really
of
all
them.
depends on the character, I think.
So basically, you don't mind as long as it fits the character.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it's been floating around lately with like pigtails, ponytails, ahoge tails. Most of these hairstyles are actually like pretty normal. Like look at Fresh. Yeah, look at Heartcatch, except for its unnaturally long pigtails. Look, the only thing is where it's weird is like Smile and Yes 5 and Splash Star. But I don't hate the outrageous hair. I'd actually prefer it to be more outrageous, so then it makes it look a little more unique. Because now hairstyles in later series are beginning to look very similar. Know what I mean?
I think what they do with the hair is pretty creative, and I like to see them do more stuff
Like,
like
look
that.
at March's hair. It looks like a hug.
A hug?
Yeah, like something's
Like
like hugging her neck. Like someone's just right behind her hugging her neck. That's what it looks
But-
like.
To be fair, they even make fun of it in the series, where she's just like, "Holy cow, my hair!"
And look
Yeah.
at Sunny's hair. It's like a giant bun. It's
I,
a
don't-
giant.
I really do like Sunny's hair, actually.
Yeah,
If I had to
Sunny's
I
hair
like
in
Sunny's
princess
hair, too.
form gets awesome. That's why I love Sunny the most. But her hair is like a bun, and then it just drops down when it's princess form. So
I actually don't like her princess hair. I prefer her normal Cure hair as opposed to the princess.
I think I agree with you, but at the same time, I like her hair as well in Cure form.
wait, Cure or princess form?
Yeah, we're talking about Cure. We're talking about Cure Sunny versus Princess Sunny.
Oh, all of them. I like all of their hairstyles.
Oh,
Yeah, I
how
mean-
about Princess Beauty's gets outrageous?
Oh my god, that hair!
Yeah, it's like
She become. Oh no, I was going to say another Super Saiyan reference there. Oh no, now I'm on 3.
that's what everyone thought. It's like hair. She's got like hair, Yu-Gi-Oh style hair all over the place.
Yeah.
And then like she's got like I think in her regular form, when she gets that upgrade versus Joker, it kind of becomes a little bit cross between regular and princess. But the long parts look like tentacles. Like they remind me of Squid Girl
Yeah, I think that's deliberate. I think it was a deliberate design choice.
because the tails are really grouped together, and then like her hair gets a little I keep calling her either a princess or a bob cut. I'm not good at discerning hairstyles, but her
Hime.
Hime cut, it gets a little more spikier.
It was an interesting design choice.
Yeah, I think she has the most intricate hair of the entire Smile series. God bless her soul.
Even though she's just a character in a show. But yeah, I mean, I liked Sunny's hair. I wish I could have like a big huge bun that I could put on top of my head like that. 'Cause that would be that would.
cosplay her.
You should cosplay her.
Oh my god, what is it with you guys and telling me to cosplay and telling me to do, voice acting?
That's because we're very supportive of you.
Whatever. Well, I mean, like, I actually have wanted to cosplay as the girls, and at one point I plan on cosplay, like going to a con for the whole entire weekend and cosplaying as like civilian form, maybe another extra civilian form, and then Cure form.
Oh, that's a question I want to get into, actually. What's your favorite civilian form hair?
Oh god, favorite civilian form hair. Oh, I actually have to think about that because I like a lot of hair.
Because it's very normal. These are very normal hairstyles. So this is where you need to think a little bit, because you're either going to think favorite character or you're going to think of,
Okay, see, as much as I love Yuri's hair, I don't like the fact that half of her head is showing. It's an interesting design choice, and I see why they do it because it also reflects on her pure form. But
I'd have to say mine is a mix of Miyuki's because of her cornet hair and Alice.
Alice's hair is really cute.
Love Alice's hair, especially with the little stuff on it.
I actually did have my hair up at like in Miyuki's little cornets at one point, and then I got my hair cut like a week later. I mean, the thing is that with a lot of their hair, I know not all of them have really long hair, but most of them do, and I can't handle having long hair. Because especially considering where I live, having long hair is the worst idea ever.
Too hot.
Okay, in Texas, there are two different types of weather. There's hot and not hot.
Is it humid?
Humid is always in hot. I'm
Oh.
just letting you know.
No, not in
It's-
California.
Well, I'm saying in Texas because
Okay.
we are at the Gulf of like where I live. The Gulf of Mexico is literally about an hour away.
Okay.
So we get a lot of, humidity from there, and then, we can get humidity from the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's a little farther to get it, but we're still at that point in the United States where we get affected by a lot of different bodies of water. But, I would love to have my hair as any of the girls, but they all, like most of them all have long hair.
Way
and
too long.
the ones that have the short hair, I don't particularly like their.
Cure Pine, Cure Sword.
Akko has short hair.
Aqua doesn't have short hair.
Yeah, she does.
No,
Not, I mean, like in her civilian form, her hair is actually it's not short,
but it's long.
but it's not long.
Komachi's
It's like,
hair is short.
true, but I'm just saying that Akko has short hair. Saki, Nagisa, Itsuki, Inori.
You know what? Just do Cure Black hair. That is like the best hair you can go with.
I'm actually looking at my Cure dolls right now, and that sounds really plausible, but I just don't care about my hair, which is really unfortunate.
All right. And this was a wonderful discussion for Ultra Happy Panel. Finally, for real, we have a brand new segment called Message in the Wind, named after Misho Mai's Image song, where we take all questions sent to us and we answer them to the best of our ability. You can ask us questions and send us comments by sending us asks on our Tumblr, theprettycurepodcast.tumblr.com, or our Facebook and Twitter. You can also send us emails at thecurecast@gmail.com. The best questions and comments may just be read on air. I now give it to Red Coon with our ask.
Okay, it was Cannibal Saracenian, hope I'm pronouncing that right, asks us, if Pretty Cure were to cross over with something, what would you want it to cross over with, and how would you do it? Leo, what would you...
Oh, this is just like opening a whole bunch of doors for me.
This is kind of scary.
Did...
Okay.
What's behind door number 1 then?
Behind door number 1? Oh, God.
I'm gonna write down an answer here and put it in my pocket, and then I'm gonna see if I can guess right.
Okay. Well, if any of you had actually listened to the first episode, I talked about how I roleplay, and how in roleplay it's a whole bunch of
Crossovers.
I've worked on a couple of private storylines with quite a few people, and one of my favorite ones happens to be Heartcatch and Digimon Season 2.
Oh, wow.
My God. What have we spawned?
No, that sounds really awesome. So would this be like the Pretty Cure characters go to the Digimon world and like they get their Digimon, or would it be that Digimon characters come to the Pretty Cure world and get like, I don't know, magical girl powers or something?
Ooh, that would just be so crazy seeing all the Digimon characters with magical girl powers.
Well, there's a good strong female cast in
there is
Digimon.
It's just that the crossover that I had with my friend, pretty much, we tweaked it a lot. And by a lot, I mean a lot. Pretty much.
So what was that about?
It was Yuri and Ken, and they're actually brother and sister. Because we thought about it, we wanted to actually have, a sibling AU, and then we thought about, characters from both Digimon and Heartcatch, and we went, Yuri and Ken look so much alike.
Now that you mention it, they
Yeah.
kind of do.
They really do. So we had to play with their storyline, or their storyline and their backstory, and tried to fit it all together so that it would work.
And was this Yuri going into the Digimon world?
No, it involved Ken getting his heart flower taken.
Oh, right, okay. So it's like a movie kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
That would be quite cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so...
I'll go next then, since you were kind enough to go first. If I had to crossover Pretty Cure with anything, I would probably go for Sailor Moon, just because Sailor Moon was the magical girl franchise of the 90s, and Pretty Cure is the magical girl franchise of the 21st century so far. So I think it would be a really cool kind of meeting of old and new for them to team up. And the medium's right there. I mean, they can go with anime. The different... They may have to change the art style for the Pretty Cures just a little bit, because the Sailor Moon girls are quite They've got supermodel proportions, like they're quite tall, long legs, whereas the Pretty Cure characters are more like anime.
They also have a more normal shape.
Yeah, they do, and they're more proportions like anime characters. Big head, kind of small body kind of thing. So they may have to tweak the art styles of either or a bit. It probably would be easier to make the Sailor Moon characters more like Pretty Cure, now come to think of it. But otherwise, I think it would be really cool to see the two of them together. And it'd be pretty appropriate if they did it in the next couple of years, because of course there's the Sailor Moon revival going on right now.
It's supposed to be coming in within the next, they said it was supposed to be this summer, but they pushed it back to, I think, the winter.
2014.
That's there.
But yeah, like the winter, either end of 2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
Okay, so yeah, we've got that revival, and there's like a new musical going on as well, and it just seems like Sailor Moon is having a little resurgence, what with it being an anniversary and all. So with that in mind, it would be really cool to see, even if it was just like one of these, even if it was like a drama CD or something like that. That would probably be the easiest way to do it. If it was something just as simple as a drama CD, I would be happy with that.
We can't have Heart Catch or Sweet in this drama CD, and you know why.
I can't remember why.
Because Hami is Mitsuyoshi Kotono.
Oh, yes!
And then you have Ai Hisakawa, aka Yuri, aka Sailor Mercury. You can't have that. As much as it would be awesome to have, them go, wow, you sound like somebody I know, I don't think it wouldn't be very well for the voice actors.
They need to do it. No,
I mean, it would be awesome. But it's just, I personally think it would be a little hard on the voice actors, but they probably are.
They're voice actors. They would probably relish the challenge. That's what they do.
Would. But I'm just saying, actually, now that I think about it, it would be really funny to have them go, hey, you sound like someone I know. Or have Usagi and Hami right next to each other eating cupcakes.
Or they can do what Akiba Ranger recently did, was that they had the actor returning, they had the character returning, but they had the actor voice a completely different character, and it sounded like voicing the returning character.
Oh, is that what they did in Akiba Ranger?
They've done it they did it in one of the newer Akiba Ranger episodes.
Oh, we'll see.
It's really funny to see them do that.
Oh my god. Oh, I really need to catch up on that.
You should. It's a fantastic series. But anyway, Jimmy!
Oh my
Any
god.
Pretty Cure to cross... surely you've thought of a crossover with Pretty Cure.
I don't know how to do this because I never really thought about crossovers. I personally think crossovers are taboo for me.
Okay.
I'd have to say I have two of them. One would be mixing animation with live action, which I would prefer live action being the animated part. I would say Pretty Cure in general with Kamen Rider Decade.
Would you prefer cosplayers to play the part of them in the live action, or would you be okay with the Kigurumi?
Oh, please don't talk to me about the Kigurumi.
The Kigurumi are awesome. Be quiet.
Well, if they can do it without the masks, they're actually
cosplayers, essentially. If they did it without the mask, it'd be cosplay, essentially.
Okay, maybe CG would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
It's a middle ground between animation and live action. Because it's more dimensions.
Well, Toei have been, making a lot of advances with CG. I mean, the ending dances, for instance.
Yeah, that kind of quality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Bring Kamen Rider Decade in it. It's just, 32 cures. You gotta do something with that.
Of course, if this was Decade, then it would be Decade going to the Pretty Cure world, in which case he would turn into a CG.
Pretty much. I would love that. I think that would be kind of cool. I just also think it's kind of taboo. But we could have had something. I mean, we had, what was it called? For the new stage movie, we had a troll art of Cure Happy's daughter in the future who looks strangely like Decade. Honore.
That would be funny. Did he say he had a second idea?
The second idea would probably be Pretty Cure with Sengoku Basara.
Oh, right, yeah.
Magical Girl History.
I remember you mentioning this before, because remember there in the previous episode there was talk about video games, and you said you really wanted a particular game based on that. Would it be like, do you know the new One Piece game that's coming out?
Yeah,
soon.
it'd be like those. It'd be like, or like the new Kamen Rider game. Where
Yeah.
It's like, basically, it's a beat 'em up. I call it a hack and slash, but it's like a beat 'em up.
Yeah, I
They
know
just-
exactly what you were talking about.
But with Pretty Cure. That
Yeah.
would be great. Sengoku Basara is actually like Samurai Warriors, except taken to a little bit extremes. Like, they got fantastical powers.
Mhm.
Imagine that with Pretty Cure, because it's like magical. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's more like if they were to make more monsters and more enemies in the style that New Stage has been doing it, then that would be a perfect and viable way of playing that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Just on the topic of video games to cancel it out, there is one video game franchise that comes to mind when I think crossovers, and I want to ask this to both of you. What would you think of Pretty Cure and Super Robot Wars?
Oh my god.
That would be like taking every magical girl and put it into one game.
Well, there's a fan-made game, or rather, it's a sort of fan-made trailer. I think it's called something like Magical Arena or something like that. Which, yeah, it's a trailer for an imaginary game where it Super Robot Wars, but with magical girls.
So it'd be like every magical girl in the existence of forever,
Pretty much.
just put into one game.
Pretty much, but in
Oh,
the style
man.
of Super Robot Wars.
I'm not sure how I would be able to handle being able to choose all of those magical girls.
Yeah.
That'd be like lyrical Nanaha,
Yeah.
Sailor Moon, Cure Black. I'll go Cure Black. And like, I don't want to say Madoka because that's too simple. Cardcaptor Sakura.
Yeah.
There we go.
I believe it's called Magical Battle Arena, and you'll actually have to be careful because there's an actual game called Magical Battle Arena that has nothing to do with the trailer. It's something along those lines. But would you guys like to see a game like that where in the style of Super Robot Wars? Or even the magical girls in the Super Robot Wars universe?
Pretty Cure Gundams, just saying. Pretty
Okay,
Cure Gundams. That's what those fan arts are for. Pretty Cure Gundams. Let's do it.
so I think we've all decided that would be, to use the coin of phrase, bitching, and it would definitely be
Robot
awesome.
happy. Happy Robo. Happy Robo for Super Robot Wars. Let's do it.
Okay,
See,
then
I
fantastic.
actually haven't seen Super Robot Wars. I feel really bad.
Super, you know what it is though, don't you?
I do know what it is in passing, but I haven't actually seen. I really haven't seen footage of it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I know it's a whole bunch of mecha series in like.
I'll explain more about it after the podcast is done.
Oh, okay.
And that has been the Futariwa CureCast. We thank you so much for sticking with us all the way up to here. My name is Kamiyan. These are my cohorts, Leo-chan and Red-kun. And remember, you can always send us your asks and comments at the Pretty Cure Podcast Tumblr and thecurecast@gmail.com. We'll be looking forward for your replies, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Bye, guys.
Night.
Laters!